Welcome to The Real Tea. I'm your host, Tammy Murphy, broker owner of RH2L, bringing Miami Valley real homes to love.
And I'm Ellie Sollenberger to give my perspective as a home buyer.
We're going to give you the key to Miami Valley real estate.
Here we go.
All right, so hi, hello, and welcome. And we have a special guest today. This is Melinda Reid. She is a home warranty representative for Advantage Home Warranty.
That is correct.
And in real estate, you know, this is one of the things that often comes up. Buyers want to have that peace of mind protection of what if something happens after I bought the home. And so we figured this is a great opportunity to hear from you and what your particular company offers, and then some real life experience stuff we've got going on.
Sure, thanks. I appreciate you inviting me to be here. This
Absolutely.
will be fun.
We hope it'll
It
be
will
fun.
be fun.
Don't be nervous.
No.
Another first time newbie on our
Yes.
show, so it's all
That's a
good.
good trend.
I'll be an old pro by the time this is over with.
That's right. That's right.
I'm
So,
wanting you to invite me back all the time.
well, I mean, I'm sure that you have, like us, topics for days, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So tell us about your company. Why is Advantage different than other home warranties?
Well, the big thing about Advantage is that it's local. Everybody's pro shop local, do local, and that's awesome. You know, it's a local family-owned home warranty company located here in Dayton, North Dayton. And two of the keys to their success. Number one is obviously they're local. Number two is that they've figured out a way to kind of streamline the biggest issues other people have with national home warranty companies. Is we have our own in-house plumbing and HVAC companies. So those two trades alone account for about 80 to 82% of all home warranty claims.
Okay.
And they're the biggest expense, I mean, when it comes to that. And they've managed to figure out a way to help streamline that whole process by having that in-house. And the nice thing about that is that, you know, they do all of our warranty work. You know, our warranties are precedent when it comes to their appointments, but they do retail work as well. So if there's a defect notice or the inspection happens and you've got questions, they can quote usually from the inspection report.
Oh.
To help streamline that as well.
Well, we might have equipment malfunction here, but as long as you can still hear, we're good, right?
Yeah. So I mean that takes, you know, not only the stress of trying to find a plumber or an HVAC tech when you have that 3-day window to try to get a quote and everybody's busy and backed up.
Right.
You know, you can call them and they can usually quote you from there. But home warranty wise, you know, our techs are uniformed, they're trained, they're professional. We have marked vehicles. You know who's coming. There's a text message alerting you. So there's not just Joe Schmo pulling up in an unmarked car saying, here, I'm with this home warranty company to work on your furnace, and you don't know who this guy is.
Right.
You know, so that I think that's just, it speaks volumes to the professionalism that they carry, and then it transfers over to us because, you know, ultimately they are the face of our home warranty company, and we want to put the best possible people out there to represent us.
So you've really already vetted the contractors in that
Absolutely.
process, which is peace of mind for people, you know, especially when you deal with an elderly couple or you deal with a female owner of the home who may not have any experience, or for that matter, a male who may not have any experience, let's be honest, because there's some people that just aren't DIY or handy or anything like that. So it's nice when you have legitimized the process for somebody,
Yes.
and that safety aspect I think also goes a long way.
Yeah. I've been in the home warranty realm for several years, and with this company, it stands out so much that the contractors are legit.
Right.
You know, previously, you know, I would have phone calls about these contractors and how, you know, they don't show up or they're not professional or, you know, whatever. And I don't get that with them.
Right.
I mean, they are truly professionals. I've had them out to my home to do work for me, and they've been phenomenal, not even knowing, you know, who I was.
Right.
And they've been phenomenal to work with.
And I think the big difference that you kind of talked about too is with the HVAC side of it, because invariably it happens when it's the heat of the summer or the depth of the cold winter that you need HVAC concerns answered. And I've had people who've had to wait 3-5 days for a response on that. And if you're going without heat or you're going without air during those seasonal times, that's really uncomfortable for people.
It is. It is. And it happened to me this summer. You know, we were gone on vacation and we got home and my air conditioner wasn't working. I mean, we left Florida at 100-degree heat, came home and opened the door to our house, and it was like a humidity wall hit us, you know, and it was after midnight, and it's like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Okay, we sucked it up, you know, went to bed, and I called the next morning, and thankfully they were out there that afternoon, replaced my blower motor, took care of it. You know, I had air conditioning, and it was amazing. But yeah, you can't. Well, you can. I shouldn't say you can't. You would prefer not to go that long without air conditioning. I mean, overnight was bad enough. Let alone, you know, 3 or 5 days. You know, that's a long time.
Especially if you just bought a new house.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want that. You know, that's what we pride ourselves on is, you know, we can run a call within, you know, 48 hours. Some other companies, you know, they'll get back to you within 48 hours to schedule. Like we're out there within 48, and in some cases I've seen we're out there the same day. It just depends on the workload that the techs have and the locations that they're in. But I've had a hot water heater claim come in the morning, and we were out there that afternoon, and they had hot water again. So I mean, it's truly, you know, it speaks volumes the way this is set up and runs.
And again, that local connection that you all are serving is serving our local people, our local communities. So you do have a faster response time.
You do, and we're local. Our call center is local. We're not, you know, we're not sending you overseas to talk to somebody that doesn't know what the weather's like in Ohio. You know, specifically, you know, Dayton or Columbus or wherever you're at, like. We know what's going on, and we can sympathize and know, okay, well, let's get this fixed. Let's do this as quick as we can. Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds good. So Ellie is recent homeowner, bought with her husband, and I know that they've bought and sold multiple times with me. And so it's one of those things is that, you know, companies come and go. And those people and companies that we refer sometimes will change based on the service that they provide. And what I will say is home warranty companies in my world of giving recommendations has changed as much as those lenders have changed, simply because it is really down to having the contact with the rep. Because you are my point person. You and I have a relationship through all of our business and our networking and everything like that, that if I have a client who has an issue and the company call center, if there is any issue, I'm coming to you. And I know that you have stepped in on times where there were issues or potential hiccups, and you helped assist through that process. And that speaks volumes. When I've had other home warranty companies that you don't have that relationship with, I've gotten the distress calls from my client. Hey, this company is saying they don't do this, they don't do this. So I'm SOL, gonna have to take care of this on my own. And it's like a major expense for something that a buyer just getting into the home hasn't had the opportunity to save for or plan for or even prepare for. And you feel like it's a letdown because they have this warranty and it ends up doing nothing for them. So this is one of the things that we talk about. We don't get kickbacks from any of the recommendations that we give. We're giving referrals based off of the service that you provide, but having that relationship there, knowing that we can reach out to you if there is a problem. We hit up Melinda, and we know that we get it taken care of. But I've had a peace of mind for at least the last 2.5 years that you've gone with this company to know that they are local and that there is being things that are getting addressed with my clients. And Ellie, I think you have a personal experience maybe that.
So it never fails. Like the first year of home ownership, I feel like is the hardest, where you have the most issues. And the ice maker in our brand new refrigerator stopped working after a power outage. So I called Tammy and I said, hey, what was that company called? she gave me the 1-800 number or whatever to call in. I made the claim. A couple of days later, they called back, said that they were going to refer it out to actually a local company who I would have called had to paid it on my own. They came out. Your ice maker was shot, had to order a whole new piece, and then came back out like a week later and installed it, and it was fine. So it was a very easy process. It was a good experience where previously, and my friends and family that have had home warranties are like, some guy showed up in a creeper van.
Exactly.
And
I've gotten those calls.
Smelled like cigarettes,
Yep.
and I
Alcohol.
like hit
Yeah.
on my jewelry and my drugs.
Yeah.
Prescriptions. And
Good way to clarify that.
just in case, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a very good experience, and I would recommend others that are buying homes to Advantage Home Warranty.
Awesome. Awesome. I love those stories, you know, because I don't always get to hear them. I hear when they go south,
Right.
which is very rare with
Right.
this company. But, you know, I love to hear where everything just went the way it should.
Yeah.
And the way it should is how it's happened. And it's amazing to hear those things. But you said, you know, the first year is always the toughest. And that's because I've learned over the years is two homeowners never use the home the exact same way. You know, there could have been a family of 6 living in that house before you and your husband moved in. They're going to use it a lot harder, you know, than what you will.
Yeah.
And sometimes those systems, you know, they're on the verge, but they're not quite. But then, you know, things
Ours
happen.
is actually the opposite. They
So
went from a 2 homeowner to a 6.
Okay, then that's it. You know, so
Yeah.
you're using it a lot harder than that previous homeowner did.
Yeah.
So those systems aren't used to keeping up to that. And when that kind of thing happens, that's what the home warranty is there for, to help ease those situations, especially in the world where, you know, the market that we've just come out of, or still in kind of, you know, where people are, you know, they're maxing out,
Right.
you know, getting into a home. The biggest investment that you're ever going to make,
Right.
you know, and why not have that warranty for that extra dollar, you know, to protect you from that. You know, $750 is our highest, but you know that's going to protect you from having to replace a whole new AC system for $5,000 or
Right.
$6,000 or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and those prices are just climbing as well.
Right.
You know, so having that peace of mind when you first move in, especially, you know, that first year, it really speaks volumes, and then you have the option to renew every year after that.
Right.
And I feel like the home warranty is just something that's kind of thought of after the fact, like, oh,
sometimes.
could we ask for this, you know, or should we buy it or whatever. And I also feel like it should be, it doesn't matter the price of your home. If you have $1 billion home or you have a $50,000 home, like, this is that safety net.
Peace of
for the
mind.
homeowner.
Yeah.
Definitely peace
And
of mind.
from the market that we've just really are coming out of, you know, sellers aren't giving concessions. They're not giving buyer closing cost assistance. They're not giving any kind of allowance typically. And we saw where you were lucky if you could get an inspection period because they wanted to sell it as is, or you were in such a bidding war that you took it as is.
Yeah.
But sellers haven't been contributing for the most part towards the home warranty either. And I knew that was really a negative impact for buyers who are coming in at a higher price point with higher interest rates. They're already maxing everything out. I chose to offset that cost, and in those cases provide the home warranty for my clients. And I felt like that's the better client closing gift you could give, is that peace of mind to say, here, if anything happens, at least you know you have hopefully something that's going to offset or at least help you in some way. And now we're starting to see some market changes, and you know, people are starting to be able to get these things in there. Sellers are starting to put those incentives back in. But again, if they put the incentive in there and they're dictating what that home warranty is, I would still caution a buyer to make sure that it's a warranty that you're going to be comfortable with. And if it's not one that you would choose, or it's not going to give you the coverage that you want, then it might still be in your best interest to pay the difference and choose the company that will work best for you. So just because it's in there doesn't mean you can't change it. It's just something for people to be aware of, because I know I've had the distress calls when it didn't work from a different home warranty company. I've had the distressed calls where people chose not to get a home warranty and in the end wish that they had. You know, I think you have maybe 30 days after closing in order to be able to secure that policy. But in 30 days, something could happen. And then you're SOL again, you know, to say, well, now I got to suck it up and go from there. So let's talk about one of the other industry type changes that kind of came out with everything that was going on in our market, and talking about, you know, people selling a home as is and buyers choosing not to do an inspection. We found a lot of the home warranties were asking for the inspection report. So can you talk to me a little bit about what was going on or what you saw, and are we going to see that get loosened up, or is that going to stay kind of a requirement there?
They're not necessarily with us. They're not required, so to say, but it's easier to look at a claim within that first 30 days if there is a home inspection report. You know, the purpose of a home warranty is to maintain the home in the condition it was in when you purchased it. You know, it's not there to make improvements, so to say, on items that were already not working or broken.
Right.
And, you know, how do we determine that? Well, we have a great bank of contractors that we work with, that when they go out, they're able to identify those things. And, you know, their professional opinion, was this bad, you know, yesterday, or was this bad 3 months ago?
Right.
You know, so we really heavily rely on them. And after that first 30-day mark, that home inspection report really doesn't play with us,
Right.
you know, as a requirement, so to say. It's just that first initial 30 days that we really want to look at it to make sure, you know, that it's legit, so to say, that it was, you know, definitely gone wrong since closing, and you do have that coverage in, and we will take care of it.
Right.
It just helps make those black and white situations more gray in that first 30 days.
Right.
Really, that's all it is. Do I see it loosening up? Probably not. You know, we'll still ask for it if there's something that we're concerned about. You know, and if we don't have it, then we look at other options.
Right.
You know, and if the homeowner's unsatisfied or whatever, that's where I can step in, you know, have a conversation with them, with the realtor, and be like, okay, this is what we're looking at, you know, in our best opinion, this is what our contractor is saying. You know, do you have anything, you know, that would counter that? And,
Right.
and I would listen.
Right.
And that's the big part. You know, I want to make sure that everyone is treated fairly and everyone's getting the coverage that they have, you know, but it's not there to know, you know, if you know that the hot water heater's been leaking or whatever and you didn't ask for it, but then it
Stops.
yeah, and then we go out, you know, 2 weeks after closing, and you know, that's a pretty, you know, black and white denial there, but you know, it helps both of us. I mean,
Right.
it really does. It helps protect both.
Well, and again, you know, in a market that changes and allows for the process where the buyer feels like they can do an inspection and not lose the offer opportunity, right? Because they have to throw everything in there. So I think that will help loosen up with the industry changes that are going on now. I think one of the other things that I had was a situation where, you know, the inspection report, it's operational, it's working, but it's at its life end. But it's still working. I mean, that's been one of those battles that I know with previous warranty companies. I've had clients who've had to go around and around, and it's like, it was working. I still would have anticipated it to continue to work because, yes, while as a water heater as an example, life expectancy can be anywhere from 5 to 8 years. Well, this is 10 years, so why would I expect that it's not going to last any longer? And it's day 45 for me. Kind of sucks, right?
Yeah, it does. It does. But when we're looking at coverages and the inspection report and the time frame is, you know, we want to make sure that everything's legit. But when you talk about age restrictions or it's at its life expectancy, that doesn't matter to us.
Okay.
As a company. It could be 30 years old, you know, we don't care.
Right.
A lot of other companies out there depreciate that.
Exactly.
And we don't. So they say, okay, your furnace is 20 years old. We're only going to pay you X amount because it's that old. We don't do that. So I like to say we don't discriminate due to age.
Well, there you go.
You know, so that's another, you know, another feather in our cap that we don't look at it that way. You know, and another thing that we also have is a discounted 2-year plan. So if your buyer's going through the inspection and the inspector says, you know, the air conditioner is, or the HVAC system is older, but it's functioning, a seller's not going to pay to replace an old unit
Right.
that's functioning.
Right.
But the buyer may be a little bit apprehensive.
Right.
So in talking with several different agents, it's like, okay, how do you counteract that? What do you do? Well, we've set up where we have a discounted 2-year plan.
Okay.
So maybe not negotiate a brand new HVAC system, negotiate a 2-year warranty plan to bring some peace of mind
Right.
to your buyer headed into this closing, and hopefully help keep the deal together.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
a valid point.
I mean, it really, I mean, and I like to do the Kohl's Cash method, the way I look at it when we talk about a discounted 2-year plan. So our most expensive plan is $750. So if you do that times 2, that's $1,500. Our discounted plan price is $13. But if you don't buy the 2-year plan, the policy price goes up by $100 with your renewal.
Okay.
So ultimately, you're saving $300,
Right.
you know, if you go with the 2-year plan up front.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay.
Can you renew into a 2-year plan?
You can.
Okay.
You can. Yep.
Because I think there's a warranty card reminder that comes out before you're at the end of your first year. And what I've often told clients is if there's something, we got this to have that peace of mind, and you really didn't use it, or maybe you used it and maybe there's still something that could be that, what happens if? Then I always encourage extending that for another year just so they have that peace of mind. But having the option to buy the 2-year plan at the beginning is definitely a trick I'll use for the next round of negotiations.
Yeah, it's another feather in your cap, you know, when you're negotiating, you know, with your buyer for those older systems. You know, not just HVAC, but you know, your hot water heater or whatever.
Any of it,
You know,
yeah.
if it's older and it brings concern to the buyer, then, you know, why not try it? Because you know the seller's not going to pay for stuff like that. I mean, I wouldn't if I was selling my home. It's working.
Right.
Like, why would I replace something that's working?
Boy, that sounds like a seller, right?
You know, so yeah, I mean, definitely remember that there's those 2-year plans out there that can maybe save the deal. I don't know. I don't want to be that dramatic, but
Well,
I mean, it could be.
Definitely helps.
Yeah.
Definitely helps.
Yeah.
So I know that this company is called Home Advantage, but do you do if somebody buys a new business also?
No, it's just residential. It's only residential, nothing commercial. But we do up to a 4-plex. As long as everything has its own equipment, so there can't be like one boiler for the whole
Unit,
unit, or for the whole
Complex.
all 4, whatever that's called. You know, so as long as everybody has their own systems in each unit, then we can warrant up to a 4-plex.
Now, is there anything that, like, what's the craziest, wildest story you've ever had for home warranty?
Just home warranty?
Home warranty related. Like, I mean, yeah, home warranty related.
Yeah. So this has been years ago when I was with a different company. I was, you know, I would get contractor calls all the time. It felt like I was always constantly fielding those, and that was not my job. You know what I mean? I didn't want to have to deal with these people that are upset about a contractor. But one of them was they were there to have their HVAC serviced with a claim, and the guy came in and went back to wherever the furnace room was, and the homeowner was just, you know, chilling in the living room waiting to hear from the guy, and they kept like, it's getting like, what is he doing back there? What is he doing? So they go back to check on him, and he is passed out in the furnace room, drunk.
Oh, no.
Like,
my
what?
gosh.
How do you even say, like, you can't say I'm sorry? That just doesn't go very
Oh, my
far. You know,
word.
the contractor that your company is sending out
Yeah.
sent a guy
Pass out
that's
on the floor.
passed out on the floor trying to fix my furnace. Like, how does that even like? I mean, that's just one of them. I mean, I
Oh,
hear
wow.
and have seen so many when it comes to contractors. I mean, not all contractors are bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, but some of them are, and you just don't want those people in your house.
Right.
Well, and I think we talk about, you know, the licensing requirements for home inspectors. That was something that the state of Ohio passed, and I think that's a good thing. Like, raise the level, the professional standards, and have
Absolutely.
something there. Yes, I get there are a lot of handyman specials and DIY scenarios, but as a private homeowner, that's not necessarily what you're wanting. If you're calling a company to come and service, you're expecting professional.
Absolutely.
And I could imagine my uncomfortability if I just had, anybody walk in, and I'm pretty harsh on it actually. And, I've got a son who's done home renovations and projects for investors, and I mean, he's set the standard as far as I'm concerned, because he's considerate, he's polite, he's even complained about when the vehicle pulls up outside, if they've got their music blaring.
Yes.
He's like, that is not cool, dude. You need to chill. Like, you're coming into a residential area. That is not the vibe you need to be setting.
Yep.
So he's as hard on it as I am, but I think those standards should be risen. They should be raised at that point. And, people need to understand you're coming into their home, which is their personal private space.
Absolutely.
And yes, while I need you there to do this work, I still need you to be respectful of that. So
yeah, our guys are amazing. They put booties on, they're all in uniform. You have to, in this day and age, you cannot be too careful when it comes to stuff like that. And I don't want to have those calls ever again.
Right?
That was awful.
What
That
about
was
a
so
claim? Have you ever had a story of a claim? Like, how did that even happen?
Well, one thing that just pops into my mind is that I had a claim come in on an HVAC system that did not have serial numbers on it.
The unit itself
The unit
did not.
itself did not.
Oh.
So we do not cover, home warranties in general do not normally cover systems that do not have serial
identifiers?
Identified or anything like that. Because to me, I mean, if it doesn't have a serial number, first thing in my mind is that it's a hot unit. Like,
when they're stolen, do they like rub off the serial number?
Yeah, so that's what you would think.
Like, why would there not be a serial number on it? It's not like they just fade after time. They're etched into it.
Yeah.
For it to not be there.
What truck did you buy that off of?
Yeah.
How much was the discount?
And I'm not saying that homeowner, was the one that did it, but it could have been the previous one that said maybe they negotiated that they needed to get this replaced, and this is what they put in there. You just don't know.
And there again, maybe a homeowner who had it thought they were doing the right thing. They contracted with this person who they thought was legitimate, and they paid this money. And they don't know to go look at the system and to see what papers come with it. What's my validation? It's like if you buy a mattress. If you buy a used mattress, if they've removed the tag, you're probably not wanting to sleep on it. I'm just going to say. But
Yes. And another one I've heard of is, and it's a unit was getting replaced by another home warranty company, and come to find out that they were replacing it with a used unit.
Oh.
And charging them for a brand new unit. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Shady, and how do you do, I mean, that's just not ethical at all.
Right.
Yeah.
You're charging them for a brand new system, but you're installing a used one? What?
Yeah.
There's so many things that you could question at that point. Like, I mean,
so many things.
If you don't know anything about it, you wouldn't know to say, well, why
used.
does that look like that's been beat up? Oh, it's a scratch and dent. Oh, I'm giving you a discount for it.
Right.
I mean, I guess legitimately you could question a lot of things at that point.
Yeah. I mean, your eyes are open.
Yes.
For sure.
So, is a home warranty an insurance policy?
No.
Okay.
And
I think that's where people get confused.
No and yes. So they work hand in hand. So if you think of homeowners insurance and a home warranty, I always use the hot water heater scenario. So your hot water heater busts and it floods your basement, where the home warranty would come in and replace the actual hot water heater. The homeowner's insurance would do any secondary damage.
Gotcha.
So they wouldn't replace the unit, they would replace any damage that was caused by the unit, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you'd have a claim against both.
Yes, you would have a claim against both, the hot water heater with the home warranty, and then the secondary damage, the flooring, anything that's got damage that was on the floor, or like the baseboards and up the drywall. If it's affected that way, then that would be a homeowner's claim.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people don't understand that your homeowner's insurance is not going to pay for like an HVAC unit that goes out.
Yeah, it's not. They don't do mechanical systems. Some insurance companies do have riders that they do provide that coverage, but just read the fine print.
Yeah.
Before you side with that. That's all I'm saying is some of them do have that option out there, but they're not one and the same per se.
Okay, I like that. Cleared it up.
Yeah. And so I think along that lines, I have clients who get into a home and then they start finding things that are wrong with the home, things that weren't found during an inspection. Obviously, people are still living there, so you can't necessarily see all the nooks and crannies. And I get that question a lot: is like, does my home warranty cover any of this? Like, they didn't put a vapor barrier when they renovated this room and made it an interior room instead of an exterior, and it's like, no. Your home warranty is going to cover your systems, typically. Mechanical systems and appliances and things like that. And they're like, wow, well, there isn't really anything that gives coverage for that, which again speaks to the due diligence of an inspection, but also just in the general, you know, because we've gone as far as calling the city where there should have been a permitting or anything like that. Like, was there permitting done when this was constructed and added on to the house? Because somebody clearly failed. They're not meeting the standards of code or anything like that. And sometimes you just find out there's just nothing that's going to help with it, which is a sour pill for a buyer to take, again, because they bought the home, they put the money out, and now they're finding out they have even more work to do.
Yeah, I had an issue come up with an HVAC claim where the drain pipe or whatever wasn't draining properly and it rotted the floor. And they wanted to know if the home warranty would repair the flooring and stuff. And unfortunately, no. You know, you need to look at your homeowner's insurance to do anything like that. There was another one where the HVAC was not functioning properly because it was loud. It was, well, I should say, it was functioning properly, but it was loud. Well, we don't cover because
noise.
It's loud. you know, it's functioning, it's working, and I'm sorry that it's loud. There's nothing that we can do about that. So there, you know, there are little things like that. You know, I had someone ask me if we covered mice and stuff. I'm like, no. That's an extermination, you know, exterminator thing. It's not, you know, we don't warrant the coverage of that.
So I've also had the cases where, and sometimes clients are really good and they'll contact me and say, hey, I got this going on, and I get to help them, you know, see if there's anything, people I know or whatever. But sometimes I don't get that message until after they've already blown up and had all of this stuff go wrong. And then, oh, in passing, by the way, then I'll get, and I'm like, why didn't you call me? Like, I'm just blown away. Like, did you use your home warranty? Oh, I still have a home warranty? It's like, it's just a text message, people. Just text me.
Mike did that with our garage door.
Yeah.
Our garage door went out, the actual, like, mechanical unit part.
The opener part.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, 2 months after we moved in, and he just called somebody, paid $1,000, got a new one, and I said, you know, we had a warranty, right?
And that's, you don't want that to happen, because then, you know, by this time, this person has replaced a stove, and then they turn around and they had something else happen. And it's like both of them were definitely home warranty claims. I'm like, so you just had money you just wanted to toss away? I mean, you don't even think about that? Like,
well, along those same lines, if you have a claim, don't try to fix it first.
Right. That's your number one key.
While you're waiting on us to come out. Don't do that, because our contractors are not going to see it in its raw condition. We're going to see an altered state, and we're not going to cover that because it's obviously you didn't fix it because it's still having an issue. So it's not repaired properly.
Right.
You know, so we're going to deny that claim. Unfortunately, I just had an issue not too long ago where he just decided he was going to work on it, and though he may not have done anything wrong, but it didn't look
the way that it should
fresh, I should say.
Yeah.
It looked altered, and our guys was like, you know, I don't know, like, we can't do this, or we can't cover this, and that's a hard one to take on.
Right.
It really is, but just don't try to DIY it before we get there. Let the warranty do the work.
Now, would that be the same as if the prior owner maybe tried and fixed something and it was working? We have the inspection, and the inspector says,
that's different.
So that's different. But if they've made the claim Don't go the next step. Be patient.
Let the system work for you.
Let the system work.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one of the
That's the
things that
biggest
I
thing.
liked about your company too is your material clearly states what's covered, what the deductible is or not, the different levels. And then at the very bottom it says, you know, we don't reimburse if you fix it yourself.
Yeah. I mean, that's like some people are not patient, you know, and you know something happens on a Sunday. Well, we're not going to get out there until Monday anyway.
Right.
And we're not going to reimburse you if you do something on your own on Saturday or Sunday, and you have an emergency service come out. We're not going to do that. Some cases, you know, we'll look at it, but normally it's a black and white. We're not going to do anything if you've done it prior to.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And that's all warranty companies. That's not just us.
Yeah. Well, this has been very informative. Thank you for coming in.
Sure. We could talk for hours.
See?
Yeah.
So much more.
I feel like you've kind of changed my opinion. Like before, I was like, I mean, it's cool to have, I guess. But now it's like, yeah, you should definitely get it.
Yeah. I mean, just like like I said, I've been in the warranty world for many years, and it, regardless of what company you use, you just need a resource of home warranty knowledge.
Right.
And I've just been in it for so long. I feel like I've got so much knowledge about home warranty companies or just home warranties in general.
Right.
And then obviously I got to know my competition as well. But, you know, if there's questions, always just reach out regardless of, you know, what company you're using or recommending. I can talk you through a lot of those things. It's just because I've been in it for so long.
And it's nice to have that backup as a resource, which is why you and I are such great friends, is because we can text and say, hey, what's the situation?
Yeah.
So we also do a bonus tip, like what would be your tip for our viewers, the number one thing that you would recommend regarding home warranties?
Get one. I mean, protect yourself. I mean, that's really it. It's your biggest investment you're ever going to make. You need to protect it. You get a warranty on your car when you buy your car. You know, get a warranty on the biggest investment of your life, and use it. Don't forget you have it, and use it, because you will see the value when you use it. You really will.
And if you can, you want to maybe renew it for that next year.
Absolutely.
Just to
Yeah,
continue
you can
that.
renew it for as many years as you want. There's really no cutoff on that.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah, I
know
have a
that.
friend who's like on year 20.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that renew for many years.
Well, see, I've learned something new then.
Yeah, they have that. They have that in their arsenal of, you know, things that they budget for every year.
Wow.
Is to renew the warranty. Yeah.
Very good. Well, thanks so much. Thanks for coming in.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thanks for joining us today on the Realty Podcast. If you enjoyed the knowledge and entertainment today, please subscribe and share with your friends. We will be embarking on a journey that bridges the gap between realtors and clients, uncovering the heart and tea of real estate.